anytime, and you can watch all the state championship action on 45 TV or by downloading the KSTP app on your smart TV, or head over to our contest page for your chance to win all sessions tickets for this week's boys hockey tournament to catch the action in person. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter.
Couple of 13-14 past. I'm the common man, Dan Cole. St. Thomas leads Shakopee 1-0. First period of the Class AA quarterfinal game over at Hippodrome. And I just want to alert people that might tune in sometime here over the next couple of days. If you're expecting Lou Nanny to be on he is for the first time in 60 years. This is breaking news. Probably the first most people heard it.
Oh my!
Lou Nanny will not.
Why did they say something about this?
I don't know.
Above average.
I don't know. They never brought it up.
About it.
Yep. You would think they would have brought him a Rocky and Sharon a watch and that whole thing, but no. So Louis will not be part of the broadcast.
He will be part of the Wild broadcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's breaking news then too. Can't believe you just broke that.
I broke that story last week.
Very good.
He's fine. Louis fine. He's in Vancouver right now, and I'm sure enjoying a late lunch or something, early lunch, I guess, in Vancouver.
Louis.
My favorite cities in the world.
Really? I've never been to Vancouver.
Honestly, the only time I was there was in 2003 when the Wild, speaking of the Wild, made their surprising run when they beat Colorado and Patrick Waugh, thanks to Andrew Burnett. They were down 3-1. In fact, Tom Reed was telling me this story on Sunday afternoon. When the Wild were playing the Canucks, and they were also trailing 3-1 in that series, tough guy, Todd Bertuzzi, skated by the Wild bench, basically said, "Boys, get your golf clubs out." And Reed
taunting him.
Oh yeah. Well, he definitely was a tough guy. How'd that work out for him? Wild came back and won.
Yeah,
but that's the only time I've been to Vancouver. Beautiful, beautiful city. They love their Canucks there, and they can turn on their Canucks, but it's a phenomenal place to visit. That is for sure. That whole area, Banff.
My wife wants to go to Banff really bad.
Yeah, you should go there with her.
Well, here's my problem. I'm
go there in the summertime.
I'm doing a lot of it at 66. You're probably maybe your mind doesn't work like mine. You're 76, right? No, 73. Start thinking about more days. You and I have talked about this often many times. More days behind you than you have ahead of you, right?
You think?
And then, you work. I just read a story.
Right.
In fact, let's bring this up right now. I think I saved
talk about this.
Well, here's what. This one, and let me see. I hope I saved the story. Otherwise, I'd have to dig for it, and we'll just save it for another day. But I usually, if I find a story I like, here it is. Have you heard? Kiplinger.com is one of my favorite websites.
I have heard Kiplinger. Yes.
The story is the die with zero rule of retirement. If spending makes you nervous, the die with zero rule might be for you because you don't want to be the richest person in the graveyard.
No.
Story is by Jacob Schrader. And it says, over the next 2 decades, an estimated $90 trillion will pass from older generations to heirs in what's been called the Great Wealth Transfer. It's a huge shift for those who follow estate and retirement planning trends. But if you ask hedge fund manager and best-selling author Bill Perkins, what's really being transferred isn't just money, it's trillions in unlived experiences.
Interesting.
In his book, Die with Zero, Getting All You Can from Your Money in Your Life, Perkins argues that life is better spent maximizing experiences rather than maximizing wealth. After all, wealth is only valuable if you actually use it. As Perkins put it, you need money to survive in retirement, but the main thing you'll be retiring on will be your memories. So make sure you invest in enough of those. The book's popularity has motivated many people to rethink their approach to retirement, embracing what we might call the die with zero rule. The goal is to live a fulfilling life within the limited time we have. Of course, then there's also questions. But is this philosophy truly practical? Is it more realistic than realistic, more fact than fiction? Then it goes on to quote him some more. I'm thinking, I didn't need to read his book. I can kind of figure that out on my own, is that if you accumulate wealth, and it's nice to pass it on to other people in your family, like when you go to the great beyond, you might want to take some of the money you have remaining and pass it along to your son and your daughter, which I'd like to pass along, whatever, if I have enough to pass. But you do also want to enjoy your money as well. I don't need to be told that, it's not like I'm not, but I guess maybe there are people that, and part of the story says the thing you do have to be careful about is if you decide as you're getting older, you know what, I'm going to go to Italy and find out if Tenebi and Rosen are right. Are the tomatoes actually better in Italy? And then I'm going to go to the Galapagos Island. I'm going to go here and go there. Then you go on all these trips, and all of a sudden, then some awful healthcare catastrophe hits, and you go,
can't go anywhere.
Yeah, and the money I had to help with my healthcare catastrophe, I don't have it now anymore. So there's a lot of different things to think through. But I think I do think at least most people realize, well, you want to. Unless you just want to save it. It talks about how people get nervous. They've saved money for their whole lives. It's hard for them to get used to spending money.
It's a good point, and it's a great discussion, and it's one that people need to have with their financial advisor, in particular, and their spouse, so you're on the same page. Obviously, I went through a life-changing event when my wife passed away from brain cancer, and I had a policy on her, and you deal with the ramifications of that, and fortunately you have life insurance. I think it's important for everybody to have, some sort of term policy, whether it provides savings for you at the same time as up to you, your family, and your financial advisor. But I think it's a point well taken, because I'm having those discussions right now where, of course, like you said, you want to leave your kids in better shape than, we were probably left. Right. Hearing stories about your folks and my folks, my dad didn't, my dad was a World War II guy, and, he barely left my mom any money. Right. So I certainly didn't get passed along to the kids, the three kids, my two sisters. But things, have changed over the years, and I think you want a nice balance between, making sure your kids have a bit of a nest egg to have and enjoy at least, but not to. You don't have to give them whatever wealth you have. I do think it's important. And the people who I trust to say, look, go spend a week or 2 or 3 weeks, whatever you can do, whatever your means are. You can go up north. You don't have to go to some place like Cold Spring where you're out in the middle of the wilderness.
Where there isn't a grocery store within 20 minutes.
Groceries. You can enjoy yourself just as much there as you can in Naples, Italy. Yeah. Anyway, the point of the matter is, it just takes lesson learned over the years, and we've had, Cara and I have had those discussions, having gone through a different change in our lives, and her being on her own for all these years, and now, we're together. We want to obviously spend, a lot of time together as best we can, and still, the big thing is maintaining your health. You don't want to be limping along in your 70s and barely being able to make it from one point to the other.
That's why you're with the Fitness King.
Well, that's why. Yes, that is one of the reasons why. And he's a big inspiration to me. But you still have things that happen to your body that you still can't control. I was just talking to you about it off
We both got a little arthritis here and there,
but
you get old, it happens.
Yes. Your body doesn't react the same way as it did when you're in your 30s but you can still maintain a pretty healthy lifestyle. But that's the thing. You want to just have the money. You want to be able to enjoy it. And that gets back to your own health. People spend more time on their financial portfolio. This is what Fitness King has taught me. They spend more time in their financial portfolio than their health portfolio.
Right.
And you're left at that point where retirement age where, I may have, how much money left in the bank, but, I can barely make it up the stairs. I can't enjoy it. Well,
and that's where if I have regrets, too few to mention, but one of them would be, and this is what it says in this story, and I think it's true, like some of the adventures you might want to take if you can afford them that are a bit more arduous, you'd want to have had done when you were younger, right? Because if all of a sudden, like let's say you're really into hiking, it's It's going to be hard to hike the Himalayas when you're 73 years old and you have arthritis. You want to do
Not
that when you're
happen.
a bit younger.
No.
Another person pointed out on a text message, and he's right. He talks about when you give your kids money, and this said the same thing in the story. If you give it to them when you pass away, they might already be pretty well off in their life already. Where I mean, they'll accept the money, but they don't need it as much as maybe when they're buying that first house or helping pay for their education, which is kind of like what I do with my boys, trying to pay off their school. So when they come out, they don't have it. So to save it and give it to them in one lump sum when you kick the bucket, but they're already, they might be in their 40s, or my kids, of course, I started late, but most people, their kids are going to be in their 40s. It's like, well, yeah, I appreciate the dough, Dad, but we're doing well for ourselves. It sure would have been nice to have it earlier. So it's a decision everybody has to make for themselves. And all I know, one other person said this. They said, and they agree with you. They said that's what Rosen was doing when he went to Williams Arena, Target Center, the Order, and the Orpheum in 4 straight days.
I don't remember even saying that, but it made for a good preposterous statement.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more with Mark Rosen, 10 to be in common here on the Fan. My cap to the Wolves. Back to back to back, 5 games in 4 days, which is weird. They played a doubleheader. Traveling 4 different time zones. Yet, guess what? They play?
Charlotte.
They destroyed Charlotte last night.
Yeah,
I
destroyed
them.
Yeah.
You watched them? Let me guess. You had already watched the paint dry, you sorted your socks, and the boiling hot basketball was in the garage.
Well, we were, it was kind of a chaotic night last night. So we were going to watch, we were watching the show Shrinking on Apple TV. And
what is Shrinking?
Harrison Ford's in it, Jason Segel, cast, really cool cast, and both play therapists.
Okay.
And they have, he had lost his wife. Jason had lost his wife in a car crash, so he's been in mourning and dealing with the after. In
real life or the
story? No, just the show. Yeah. And Harrison Ford plays kind of his mentor, who's kind of typical of Harrison Ford, kind of crabby and kind of at the same time helpful. But anyway, we were going to watch that, and then Karen got busy with some work stuff, and then I just put the game on and.
And were you as excited as I was with that big victory last night?
Well, I wouldn't say I was as excited. I like watching certain things and certain aspects of the team right now, and watching Jaden McDaniel again. I don't care who he's playing against; he's emerging as a real star on this team. And Randall obviously continues to play well, and it was close for a little while, but then you remember that when you look at that draft when Anthony Edwards was taken ahead of. LaMelo Ball. Remember, there was a discussion about that because nobody had really heard of Anthony Edwards, not in that context.
Yeah, right.
And we heard he doesn't want to play basketball. That's not his first love. Blah blah blah. And Ball's got that name recognition. And he had a really bad night. But it's also, his trajectory for his career isn't anywhere near where Ant is at right now. So, yeah, they got a tougher game tomorrow night. They'll have their hands full with. Miami, and I realized that I saw a little bit of the end of that game. Slow-Mo's playing for Miami now. Obviously, I think Kevin Love is still there, and they got a decent team.
They are.
Yeah, they're a 7th place team right now. They're a few games under 500, but they had a tough.
We should destroy them. We need to take care of business.
I would say they would destroy them. They'll be slight favorites, but not much tomorrow night. When they come home.
This is when you put the pedal to the metal.
You have plenty of opportunities in the next couple of weeks in particular to do exactly that, and I think they will. I think Gobert may be ready to go tomorrow night. He apparently was.
Is that what your sources are telling you?
Well, that's what they were saying last night on the broadcast, that he was very active in the pregame and the warm-ups and practicing, and he's been with the team and traveling with them. It's not like he's been in traction dealing with his back, so I would think he's getting really, really close it's going to be interesting to see when he gets back how the rotation goes with Nas and playing that five, who's going to play the five and the rotation that Finch is going to use. But, as they say, it's a nice problem to have.
Indeed it is.
So,
Warren, I think you wanted the Vikings to re-sign Theo Jackson, and they did just that.
Congrats,
you must be happy.
Well, here, I wanted to go back about the quarterbacks I was talking about last time we talked, and there's a free agent.
Oh, you mean signing? You want to sign as many free agent quarterbacks as we can?
No, this is what I want to do.
Oh.
Let's just say you got your rookie quarterback, and this is really close to what Pro Talk guy said to PA anyway.
Who?
He basically said Florio.
Oh, okay.
He basically said, okay, you're gonna have Jones play for a little while. Then if it's not working out, so you're gonna bring your rookie in. Well, here's what I contend: if you start a rookie quarterback,
yeah,
especially if you're
turn off your radio,
all that
Warren.
Set up, you're gonna fail.
turn on your radio behind you.
Turn off your radio, please.
If that's what it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. But anyway, what I'm saying is, you start a rookie quarterback. This is what happened to Darnold. He plays every down, every game. It takes one game to ruin a confidence. It may not be totally his fault for confidence, but I'll say this. If you got a rookie in there, and that's all he's playing, has no experience, and come off an injury, this is what I say you're better off doing. You could have a quarterback that averages basically 5 games. If you had a quarterback that played a quarter a game and they played extremely well, and I'm talking about a guy like, I don't care who it is, you get a Fields in there,
right. He plays.
I'm saying this is the situation.
Do you play a quarter at a time, or does he go? Can they rotate plays like Fields plays for 3?
This is what I'm saying. If you get a guy that's coming in the game, and no matter when he comes in, he plays extremely well, and he plays every single game, you're gonna wind up better, because 9 out of 10 times one of your quarterbacks is going to get injured. Most of the time when guys come in, they're not prepared to play.
Right.
And their confidence is down.
Yes.
What if you had a guy that played every game and performed extremely well, and his career is on the downside? He comes in and he plays.
What if he plays well? But what if he plays really terrible for 3 or 4 games and you lose all 4
games? Well, then you know what? You do that until it doesn't work.
Oh, I think that would probably happen.
The NFL is never. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
The Vikings are. They make these terrible decisions.
Warren, let me just cut you off for a second. This is about as harebrained as some guy who suggested signing 4 or 5 of the top flight running backs and just having them all run 6 times a game. This is preposterous.
So you're telling me it's a bad idea to have a guy play the same as 5 games a year, 5 games a year, but he's playing every single game.
You got to be able to get into it. So you're telling me, so if all of a sudden, let's say Danny Dimes starts and he's 7 for 7 or 7 for 9, no picks, you're just going to pull him out of the game and throw somebody else in? It's preposterous.
But
no. According to you have to do it because the guy's got to have playing time in almost every game. Okay, it's crazy. And I'm sorry, Warren.
What if the same thing? What if the same thing happens that happened to Darnold last year? They play every down, and then when it gets rough, everything falls apart. A rookie quarterback will not make it through the season and win a Super Bowl. Right. What's that? I was going to tell you about a free agent.
What is he suggesting? That they trade J.J. McCarthy?
No. He's suggesting they have 9 quarterbacks on the roster and then playing them all a series of
I'm just trying to understand what you are saying. I mean, J.J. McCarthy is going to be the starting quarterback. Just like Caleb Williams, just like Jaden Daniels, just like Bo Nix, all the rookies who played last year and played pretty damn well. Yeah. That's what J.J. McCarthy's going to do this year. I don't think Jaden Daniels slumped last year,
Did you ever bring this up to Denny Green in your conversations with him?
We brought up a lot of stuff, but what I'm trying to say is, if you got a guy that's playing every game, and you got an injury that occurs, or you have a guy that's been there and he's been great.
He's better prepared, but
he goes back to the way he used to play.
I can't do it, Warren. I can't. I love you, but I can't do it. I mean, people thought mine was preposterous with 4 different running backs, which wasn't.
I don't know the injury for. I mean, Jaden Daniels played the whole year. Caleb Williams played the whole year. Knicks played the whole year?
Yeah, and it's preposterous.
Oh, well.
The 4 running backs was not. Had they signed Saquon Barkley like I asked them to, we would have won a Super Bowl. But we didn't. We decided we wanted to go with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is going to be our ball carrier, 20 runs.
I think the Eagles had a slightly better offensive line than the Vikings did. There's that. Not taking anything from Saquon, but
I think you are.
Not even day and night.
So are you telling me that then anybody could have done what Saquon Barkley did because of the Philadelphia Eagles offense?
Premier running back. They rewarded him.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Charge thought he was done.
I know. I heard that.
Thought he was toast. We will. We'll break. We'll come back. One more segment to go here on the Fan. Couple 13, 14 past Common Man program. Let's give away those tickets tend to be. I wanted to do it before the break, but Warren threw me off my game.
No.
Wild tickets. This is a Wild Wednesday on a Thursday, brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. The game was on the 11th. Is that correct, Tenneby? Against the Lanch? Or no, I don't know if the date's right. I think they played I don't remember.
11th versus Colorado.
Against Colorado. So be the 11th caller, 1-800-320-5326, 1-800-320-5326. 11th caller win the tickets on a Wild Wednesday, brought to you by Jim Beam, the official bourbon of the Minnesota Wild. Number of people have weighed in on the controversial call from Warren, including Steve, who's a regular listener. Mm-hmm. And I think he's maybe just trying to get me going, but I responded to this. Maybe let your caller finish the sentence. It's Warren. It's Warren.
He never does finish.
Warren he talks one complete sentence. He never stops talking. He knows that if he takes a breath, he could get cut off, so he never stops. We're the only show in town that gives him a forum. We give it to him often. We generally give him 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes. Right. So to pretend like I've never let him finish a sentence, he talks in one continuous sentence.
No one does it better.
Steve, you've never hosted a show. You don't know the responsibilities I have here. I have millions of dollars riding on my back. There's an entire company that is dependent upon me to host 3 hours in a way that most people want to continue to listen. And quite frankly, I've done a damn fine job.
It's
he went on with this idea, and he can't. He just jumps around and won't stop. No. What he was trying to say is have 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks on and give them a little playing time each game, so that if your main quarterback gets hurt, you have somebody that's all he needed to say, but it took him forever to say it. It's a preposterous. No team is going to do that. You can't eat up that many slots. That's the running back one. I did mostly tongue in cheek. Though I can tell you, I still think you're going to have usually 3 or 4 running backs on your team. Why not have 3 or 4 really good ones? The quarterback thing, it can't work that way because, especially if you have a quarterback like Darnold that was on a roll for the most part, when are you going to pull him out of the game and take him out? Unless it's late in a rout. Yeah. The quarterback has got to continue with his vibe. There's a certain cadence with it. It's just like you can't do that. If you did, teams would have done that by now. Teams have tried more than 2 running backs. They do it all the time. Most teams have at least 3 running backs that they use in a football game. The Dolphins did it to an undefeated season.
And you just can't invest that much in backup quarterbacks anyway. I mean, we know that because of salary situations.
And let him finish a sentence for crying out loud. He talks in one continuous sentence. I love Warren. Warren has come up to us and talked to us during the Minnesota State Fair. He's come up to us over at Toys for Tots.
Correct.
He sent me a very nice thank you card at the end of last year, like a Christmas card saying, thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about what I do.
Sometimes his takes are worthwhile. Not very often, but sometimes.
Wait, hold on. Let me give you there. Let him finish a sentence, please.
That's funny.
Speaking of Netflix, I read a story. You know, I'm a reader. I read a lot.
Right.
And I read a story, and I didn't even know what the subject of the story was. I think it was supposed to be put your phone up, stop watching TV and put your phone down, one of those kind of stories, but I don't remember exactly what the topic was. But it was saying that, like Netflix and a lot of these streaming services, that a lot of their series and shows, occasionally they hit on a great one, but a lot of times it's just sort of they're okay. They're nothing great. The writing's all right, and they have their moments and some of the acting, but they're not like, whoa, I can't believe they came up. Is that true? Not everything that's on Netflix is brilliant, is it, or is it?
No, of course not. I mean, the consumer has so many options now, not just with a Netflix, but with Apple and Hulu and, Peacock and whatever it is. I mean, you go through the smorgasbord of choices that you have on your guide, and you go, I mean, unless a good friend or a friend or someone says, man, you got to watch this show. I probably wouldn't invest my time in watching it if I didn't know anything about it ahead of time. You can always look up, Rotten Tomatoes and see what kind of score it gets. But that's not always indicative of how it is. So I kind of go, word of mouth. Karen got me into watching The Diplomat, which, had a cliffhanger at the end of the season. And that was terrific. I really enjoyed that. And as I said, we were watching Shrinking, and she's watching another, I don't know what another series that she's watching. She got me into watching The Crown. But I have my own choices as well, and I enjoy watching those shows. But no, the quality is hit and miss, like anything else. But it's just that it's I think for the most part, affordable. I mean, right now, a lot of the Academy Award nominated movies are on streaming services right now.
Correct.
I think I saw. We both talked about it. I saw one picture. The Dylan movie with Chalamet, and that was the only one I saw that was nominated for an Academy Award, and in a theater. And now I want to play catch up to see the ones that were at least that have my interest. But yeah, it's like anything else. It's sometimes I see people. You get on an airplane, you got the menu you have, and I go, there's like 200 movies. I can't find I want to watch.
Right.
I've either seen it 10 times or it does nothing for me. I just pass and listen to some music and close my eyes. That's about it.
By the way, Shakopee did tie the game. They were in the second period at St. Thomas, the 3 seed against 6 seed at Shakopee. Tied at 1, 7.5 to go in the second period, Class AA quarterfinal game, the second of the day.
Yep.
The first one was a 5-0 win. Second seeded Stilly beat Andy. Andy was the 7th seed, so that game ended as well. Of course, you can hear, if you're interested, Shakopee St. Thomas Academy right now on the Plus. And then both games tonight will also be on the Plus with Zach on the call. And then tomorrow, the semifinal games will be here on the Fan, and then the championship games as well. So I'm looking at the power rankings for NBA from CBS Sports.
Just out today?
Timberwolves creep up to number 10.
10?
In the entire National Basketball Association.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in the entire National Basketball Association. That's up 1 from where they were. And again, the power rankings, as Tenby has pointed out, and Tenby's a genius. The only real rankings that really count are the standings, but it is fun to take a look at to see where they are. And the Timberwolves, I talked about this earlier. For as much as they frustrate me with such uneven performances, and sometimes and I know there are teams are going to go through stretches where they're not playing as well and they're playing better and this and that. It's just like when I read the gamers after every game, it's what I do in the morning. I wake up, I get out of bed, I drag a comb across my head, then I take a look at the stories. And I look at the quotes. And so many times I'll see quotes like, yeah, we just didn't have the effort tonight. Kind of came out flat. We're really just not getting back on defense. I'm like, well, why are you doing all that? Why don't you get back on defense? And why, instead of coming out flat, why don't you come out ready to play? And I always find that, to me, that just frustrates me. It's like, to me, those are bad excuses for losing games. But here, and then I also have, and I think there are people that agree with me. I know I get ripped by members of the basketball community who think I'm exaggerating the lack of effort sometimes by NBA teams. But I guess if now is when you are going to start to play, it's when they really need to, because they are jockeying for position now in postseason play. As it stands right now, would their seed be right now?
7th,
yeah, so they're in the, so if it was started today, they'd be in the play-in thing. You don't want to be in the play-in thing, obviously. And you'd like to climb as far as you can. Now, I think Tennessee mentioned, how far are they out of the fifth spot? I mean, they're not even that.
Like 3 games.
Yeah. So they're, you know,
games out of the
again,
fifth, yeah.
and I don't,
Objects in your mirror may be closer than they appear.
now is 4 out of the question, or, you know, I know, you know, it's not all just on you. You know, you get other teams that are ahead of you.
They're 4 games back in Memphis. So Memphis is 4th, but they've lost 4 in a row. Houston is 5th. They've lost 3 in a row. So those two are
they're
trending the wrong direction.
Correct, while the Wolves are trending in the right direction. So maybe, and I don't think this was done intentionally. If anybody's going to tell me this is the way the Wolves plan it, they were just going to kind of, you know,
No.
bide their time and make a push late. I think probably some of it does have to do with health coming back. You've got DiVincenzo missed a number of games,
Right.
and he's back and he's playing well. Randall now, what did you tell me, or did Tennessee say he was 1 away? Was it an assist away from a double?
Yeah,
a triple
an
double?
assist away last
An
night.
assist away from a triple double.
And he fed the ball to, I think, to Nas or something
Yeah.
right at the end. Nas and take the shot.
You mentioned how well McDaniel has been playing, and so if you can continue to get the contributions you have, and Ant is Ant when he's on, there ain't many better, and even when he's not on, he's pretty darn good too. If he can control his emotions, stay out of not just stay out of foul trouble, but stay out of technical foul trouble where he's not you know, taking a chance on getting suspended for another game. The Wolves should be in a pretty good place. Again, do I think they're as good as last year's team? I don't know. That remains to be seen. You had said you think they're deeper.
I do. But I also said with the caveat that doesn't mean they're going to get to the Western Conference Finals.
And I can say that there is a possibility that they could be deeper. I think they missed Cat more than they thought they would, but you know, it's
Well, the league itself is almost set up, to echo your point, to have these lulls where teams, you know, either have take key players out of games in back-to-back situations, or quote unquote the effort's not there. But you know, you have the outlier, because 2 outliers this year. I mean, Oklahoma City is 50-11, and the Wolves, you know, came back and had that astonishing comeback on the road just a few weeks ago, which gives them pause to think, well, we're not afraid of going into OKC if we have to play them in the postseason. And Cleveland, a team that's, you know, other than Donovan Mitchell, you'd be hard pressed to come up with a bunch of stars. They're 52-10. Yet, I think right now, I think people are looking at the Lakers as being kind of almost like the team to beat, but the team to watch in the postseason because of Luka and LeBron finding the fountain of youth. So it's all about setting yourself up for the postseason. Obviously, the Wolves proved last year they swept Phoenix. They can do that on the road. They're probably going to open up on the road one way or another. I don't think they're concerned about that. It's not the ideal situation, but I think if you look at the teams that are, you know, ahead of them right now, I don't, other than Oklahoma City, and they, you know, they feel like they match up well with Denver, they match up well with Memphis, they match up well with Houston. Dallas isn't going to make the postseason the way it looks right now. They're just in a free fall. You know, the Lakers and Golden State are going to be interesting teams to watch come playoff time. But that's, you know, that's where you want to be. So it's all about just getting yourself up to speed in April, and obviously staying as healthy as possible to get the maximum, effort, and that's where guys turn it on, and that's where you see a totally different brand of start to finish basketball, and that's, I think, what we're all looking forward to. And if you're an NBA fan,
well, let's say the Wolves get the 6th seed, right? Mm-hmm. The 5 teams in front of them that they might have to play in some combination or another are going to be, like you say, it's going to be OKC. Lakers, right? I mean, there's just no stopping them right now with that combination of LeBron and Doncic. I'm telling you, to me, and maybe maybe I'm not the only one who feels this way. I think the Lakers are the team to beat in the West.
well, you can say that, and you can probably find some people that agree with you on that.
Above average at that.
Even though you thought Golden State would go further than them. But the Lakers still have, I mean, I think a bit of an Achilles heel in that, you know, if their front court, you know, obviously they don't have an Anthony Davis anymore. They don't have the experience or necessarily the bulk or the height in there that to match up with some of these other teams in the postseason. That might be a problem.
They've got LeBron. Well, they got Doncic, and you can't measure the size of LeBron's heart.
What he's doing at 40 is astonishing. I mean, he is. But yeah, I mean, and then Steph and what he's doing with Golden State. I mean, looks like
buckets.
Yeah, he's helped them.
A
Certainly.
lot.
Yeah, he has. I think mentally he's helped them.
Defensively, he's helped him.
Yeah, he has. I don't disagree with that.
He's Jimmy Buckets. That's why he's called Jimmy Buckets, because he's Jimmy Buckets.
But, then you can't discount Denver. The Wolves match up well against them. They've played well against Denver. Obviously, they beat them a year ago in the postseason. So that's the team, you got to watch. Memphis, you don't really think about that much. They got Ja and a few other guys that are good, really good players, but I don't think that the Wolves are in fear of any of these teams. But, you just got to get yourself in a position where you're the healthiest you can be with the best possible rotation and playing at your peak in middle of April. That's it. That's the way the league goes.
That's the way the league goes.
And I think, the same thing for the Wild. I mean, I think we don't know. The Wild get in the postseason, and both Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek are back on this team, and Brodin, are they a totally different team, Tenna? I mean, are they competitive enough to in the words of Bill Guerin, to make a run, to win a series or two? I don't know how to answer that.
Well, they're clearly a different team than they are right now.
Oh, 100%.
This current team
they're not
would not do well in a playoff series.
No, if they play Dallas, and that's that's the team that right now they'd be matched up against. How that would probably turn out.
Within the next 24 hours, what's interesting, because you got the NHL trade deadline tomorrow. What's interesting is the Wild, the way they're currently set up from a salary cap standpoint, really have nothing available unless one of your injured guys, let's say Kaprizov,
right?
Let's say you held him out until the playoffs.
Which you could do. Yeah.
You could. Now you risk not making the playoffs if he's ready at any point. But if you are because right now they don't have salary cap space to make a move, but if you want to make a move to bring in like a Brock Nelson,
right,
you could have someone like Kaprizov stay on LTIR, which is long-term injured reserve, throughout the entire season. That would free up cap space.
Right.
So it'll be interesting the next 24 hours. You'll kind of figure out how long your injured guys are going to be in for based off of whether they make a move or not.
Well, how much danger are they in not making the playoffs? Now, I mean, they got a pretty healthy lead, don't they?
Well, they're 9-up on the team they play tomorrow, which is the Vancouver Canucks. So they could really, that thing could be 11 or 7 after tomorrow night, and there's a big difference between 11 and 7.
Well, there is.
Unfortunately, you won't know that until
do you think it's worth to make a move like that? To get a Brock Nelson?
I don't have medical information on the status of Kirill Kaprizov. I did see that Russo in his story today said he ain't going to be start skating till even late March.
Okay.
So we're still a couple weeks away from him skating. At that point, you might only have 7 games left in the season.
Yep.
Now, I guess if you're fighting for a playoff spot at that point, you'd like to have him. But, if you got a cushion at that point, then it would be best to try to maybe hold him out and acquire someone right now that could help you.
This is more important. Someone tried to box me up. Talk about coming out flat. Why do you play the first hole twice? Sometimes I played 3-4 times. Besides, I probably haven't done that more than once in the past few years because I'm more consistent now. But I told him, he said, why do you do that? I go, well, because I can, with a question mark. And he goes, that's coming out flat. I go, no, it's just Common isn't very good. It's actually, I'm just not consistent. It has nothing to do with coming out flat. It's like, because I'm not a very good player, some days I come out, hey, hit a nice drive, hit a nice shot, hey, made par. Then sometimes I block it right or hook it left and make a double bogey. So that has nothing to do with coming out flat. It's just I'm not a consistently good player. When you get to the professional level and you say I came out flat, that's a terrible thing to say, and that means you're searching for excuses.
Given your early tee times most mornings, do you spend any time in the range, or you just tee it up on one?
I haven't gone to a driving range in years.
Seriously?
Well, I take that back. I will.
Just tee it up and go.
If my game is to the point where I go for 2-3 weeks and it's just gone, I'll go and hit balls at a range then. Yeah, to try to get things figured out. But otherwise, no, I don't. I'm a natural, Mark.
Yeah, I've seen you. You don't really have to mess with your swing.
I'm a lot like Bruce Litsky. Bruce Litsky. This is what Master Professional Craig Warren told me. He was legendary for a guy. He could walk off a golf course, take his clubs and put them in a closet for a year, come back out, tee it up, and shoot 65 again because he didn't need to practice.
Right.
He was that was Bruce Litsky.
Well, not a big name for golf fans, but
for those he watched him. Or old people, it was a big name. Yeah, no, most of the kids have no idea who he is.
It's funny.
But Bruce Litsky,
he
could flat out play golf.
Yeah,
I'm the Bruce Litsky I'm a modern day Bruce Linsky. I can just come right out of the. I don't need
Right
to
out
hit
of the
balls.
gate.
Well, when you play every day, you don't really need to go.
You got your swing
I mean,
memorized.
here's what I will tell you. I wished I would have spent more time practicing because maybe then I could have become a more consistent player. But it really wasn't that important to me. I just like playing. I guess I'm kind of a fraud because it was important for me to score and still is. So if I wanted to score more, I should have practiced. But I don't have a lot of patience for that. And I'm like, I don't really want to just go and hit balls and
spending time on the putting green.
Yeah, again, unless the putter is so bad, I'll go work on it for a little while. But you know what happens to me when I go to a putting green? I usually get worse.
Yeah.
I start seeing double and triple, and I just can't
messing with your
it does mess
stance
with me.
or whatever.
So, we are thinking of bringing back the match, maybe Teneby and I and meat sauce for digital. There's been some discussions of that here for because we like.
Do we need a fourth to have like a team competition?
Maybe Rosen would want to be that fourth guy.
I'd like to consider it.
Yeah, and so we'll
get back at it this year,
and we can do that, and that might be kind of fun. And we do it for digital, and it might be kind of fun. And you know what? Let me just say this. I think there's a pent-up demand for it amongst the viewing public in the Twin Cities. I think a lot of people would like to see it.
Watch that on pay-per-view.
A lot of people would like to watch us play golf.
You're going to try to play golf next Tuesday, I heard.
Monday and Tuesday. I'm out both Monday and Tuesday.
Where are you going to? What state are you going to?
You've got to be kidding me.
The refuge up in Oak Grove is where I'm locked in on
Come on.
Monday morning. Well, they only got a couple of inches of snow. We got a foot in Woodbury. So. He expects to be open Sunday, Josh said, and for sure Monday. If not, we get in the car and we go to Des Moines because we're going to play. I'm taking days off. I'm not going to sit around and watch Oprah.
No,
we'll see you Tuesday at.
Well, not me.
I'll
see you Tuesday.
Yeah, I'll see you Tuesday. See you on 2:00 on Wednesday.
Right.
Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed a visit with you today. Stick around. Big Ticket and Brett Blakemore next. Oh, who's on program professor?
Nordo and Amy James join
tomorrow.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.